My name's David Veale, and I'm going to be talking today about how your OCD is motivated to keep you safe, and what you can do perhaps to motivate yourself against the OCD, and perhaps to try and question some of the orthodoxy around it, but we'll see. It's also going to do a few things which are a bit risky for me, as you'll see. Okay, so traditionally we tend to think of the OCD as a bully, don't we? And we tried to actually put that into a sculpture about 10 years ago. This is the OCD bully, which sits in the Anxiety Disorders Residential Unit. It's manifested on the external side by all the aspects of OCD, things like the devil coming out of its head and the toilet seat around the side, and a little bit of poo down the bottom, and numbers like 666 on it, and paedophile, and so on. And it's got the chains of compulsions and all the wasted time for compulsions from the clock. And it's got that cylindrical thing in the middle which collects all the safety objects, the things that people are using, of course, to try to maintain and keep the OCD going. So it was a way of externalizing the OCD. And in my fantasy, I had this idea that we'd have bullies from other different disorders all over Bethlehem Hospital. Would have an anorexic bully in the ward next door, and would have a depressed bully down the road, and so on. But that hasn't come to pass. We've only just got the OCD bully. Anyway, I was thinking today that does it not look like the White Knight, what's it called, the White Knight, the White Walker King? And it seems remarkably cannily similar to me, even though it was done 10 years ago. But anyway, the point being is, I'm just beginning to think a little bit more about whether we ought to always be fighting our bully, the OCD. The problem being, of course, I don't know what's going to happen in the next few episodes, but the White King might come back, the White Walker King. Bullies generally tend to fight back. And I'm just going to suggest today that perhaps we need to sit alongside our bully sometimes and really to understand its motivation first. What exactly it's trying to do for you, yeah? And just a quick reality check, and I'm indebted to my colleague Paul Gilbert here in terms of some of his teachings to remind us that we've all got only about 28 to 32,000 days to live on average. You may get OCD, perhaps a whole range of other illnesses and tragedies happening in your life. Your lives are a lottery in terms of the genetics you've been born with, the way you've been shaped as a child through no choice of your own, and things that have just happened, bad luck in various ways. And our brains are very much designed for survival. They're not designed to be happy. I've got a picture in my mind now, an intrusive image actually of those Miss World competitions where they used to come in and say, and what do you want to do? I just want to be happy. But you can't. You know, you're designed for survival. Yeah, your brain is designed to help you survive. That's a key thing to remember. And our human brains are inherently tricky. We've often talked about that conversation in our inner mind between the part of it that's frightened and wants to be able to avoid and escape, and yet the other part of our mind which knows it's rubbish and that we need to be able to do these things, and so on. So we have these different parts of the brain, which is often referred to as the new brain and the old brain, and it's tricky to manage. And we can think about the old brains having different motivational systems. And it's easy to think about the old brain, particularly in terms of the threat system, because that's where our OCD resides. And it's all about those big emotions of fear, disgust, and anger. And they're all designed to keep you safe. And they work very well with actual external threats, when there is someone mugging you, or when there is a threat of something, of a bully or something. But they work very well when they keep you safe. They design you to fight and flight. But that's where the OCD resides. It's part of the threat system designed to keep you safe. And of course, there are other motivational systems in the own brain. One is your drive system, which is very much part of your things you want to achieve. And when you get a lot of good things, you feel very excited. And some people try to use that drive system to control their OCD. They're keeping themselves busy all the time. But of course, that doesn't work in the long term. And when your threat system gets very strong, it keeps you very depressed because your drive system goes right down. Yeah, probably recognize that. But there's another motivational system that I want to think about a bit more today, and that's the compassionate system in terms of helping you to give you courage to focus on the OCD as well. And so the compassion part is being sensitive to suffering of yourself and others with a commitment to try and relieve it. And so remember, you have a relationship with yourself, not just with others. And many people with OCD are very self-critical, judgmental, they're very ashamed about their OCD. But also just the nature of the OCD is a problem for them. So the first step is to be able to turn towards and connect with your OCD and very much engage with your distress to be able to understand it in a non-judgmental manner. So in other words, you can't really stand up to it until you really understand it. So I'm going to do something that's a bit risky today because it's completely non-planned and it may go horribly wrong. And what I'd like to do is actually ask for some volunteers, perhaps 2 or 3, one at a time, to try and work out with yourself what exactly is the intention of your OCD. What's the motivation behind it? Yeah? So in a moment, we'll just have a think about it, see if you'd like to volunteer, or it's all going to go horribly wrong because we're not going to get anybody at all. Or something's going to go wrong. I know it's going to go wrong. I'm starting to catastrophize. We've got 2 chairs here. Yeah? And what we want to do is to have one of you enact your part of your OCD, what we might call the OCD bully, in one of those chairs. Yeah? And in the other chair, listening to it, is going to be yourself. Yeah, and then we're going to swap chairs between you and just have a very brief conversation, probably lasting no more than a couple of minutes. Yes. And so the sort of questions you might want to ask your bully is, just tell us a little bit more about what your intention is. What's your motivation? What do you want from me? What do you fear most if you're unable to stop avoiding or stop doing those compulsions? Yeah? Or you might have other questions as well. But what we want to do is to get at the motivation, yeah? The intention behind your OCD bully. Yeah? And if we could try that in about 2 or 3 people perhaps, just to get a flavour of whether this is something that might be useful, to understand the motivation behind your OCD. Yeah, that's the invitation. Who would like to come up and have a discussion? Oh, wow, fantastic. There's already 1 person, 2 people. You're going to fight between you now. Would you like to come up first? That'd be fantastic. Would you like to do it second, Arthur? And there's another one here. Oh, fantastic. Right. So firstly, are you happy for it to be filmed? Because, of course, we're doing. Yeah? Great. Because we're doing all these, all this fantastic live streaming and so on. So come on up.
I'm just going to acknowledge before I start that I'm pretty scared of this because I've got a feeling that this part might be quite ugly. So I'm just going to put that out there before we do it. Okay, all right. So my name's Chris, and I want to talk to the OCD part of myself, of Chris. I recognise that me and OCD are in a lot of distress. I've done loads to try and understand why you feel the way you feel, and I've tried so many different things. My intention is to make you well, make me well, to have a good life. And so I'd like to, in this exercise, to ask you some questions about what it is that you really want. I want to try and understand you, not just to eliminate you. So my question for you is to honestly ask you to communicate to me and to these people what your intention is for me, what it is that you really want to achieve and why you're here and why you're working so hard for me, and what you fear. What is it that's really difficult about not doing what you're doing or not continuing to talk to me in the way that you are?
Great.
Okay, fine. Well, I'd like to start by saying that, I think it's a joke that you're here, quite frankly. I think I get OCD, I get the whole process, I get what you're talking about. I've made it very, very clear to you that there is some very serious stuff going on in your life that you're not resolving. You are 33 years old. You're not 23, you're not 16. You have wasted literally years not listening to me. I have been trying to tell you time and time again that you're making the wrong choices. You've got the wrong sexual orientation, for one. I have told you 1,000 times. I have sent you so many thoughts to make you realize that you're doing the wrong thing with your life. But you're not listening to me. You never listen to me. I am trying. And I'm telling you that 4 or 5 years from now, you are going to be sitting in another one of these stupid conferences with fuck all to do with your life because you haven't fucking listened to me. That is what my intention is. And that is why I am fed up and I am trying to send you these messages. I care about you. I care about your happiness. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But you're just sitting here doing this stupid therapy stuff, which doesn't make any difference because I'm telling you the real problem is what I'm telling you. That is the problem, okay?
Do you want to explore that a little bit more with him?
Yeah, if we've got time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Come back here. We'll just ask a few more questions.
Okay. Okay. I can honestly say that right now I feel like crying. I feel very sad. I know what you feel about that. I have listened. I have listened very hard, and I've worked very, very hard to try and try all the things out that you've explained, but it hasn't worked. I can honestly say that I've done all the research, I've done everything, and I'm just trying to live the best life I can, and to be of service to other people. It is devastating me, and I really don't know if I can go on living with that level of distress. So that's kind of honestly how I feel about it. And I want to ask you what you feel about that. What do you feel about what I'm saying? Does that resonate at all? I think that's a bit. I think it's a bit false, really, and I also think it's quite fake. It's weak. It's weak because it's. The human being is much stronger than you think. That's. It's weak, it's a bit self-indulgent, you need to just get a grip, because actually I tell you that the majority of people in this room are achieving a lot more than you are. And they're doing it not because they're worrying and getting, I've got to be compassionate to myself and I've got to be, it's just a waste of time. Because I tell you, in this world, the people that everyone admires are the people that achieve things and do things, and you're not achieving enough. And I'm trying to protect you from that, so that you're not miserable in years to come.
That's great. Thank you so much. Wow. That was so powerful. Thank you so much. And did you notice how the body image changes? That when Chris was in his bully state, he was strong and powerful and sitting very upright and going for it and very down in this side. Yeah. Can we have one more volunteer just to pull out some more of those things? Was over there? Yeah, fantastic. And you're okay to be filmed and so on? Great. Chair, first of all, just to talk to your body a little bit about what its intention is. Yeah, what its motivation.
Hello, I'm also very nervous, and I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. But anyway, my name's Lisa, and what's the question again? Sorry.
Well, we're going to try and explore patience.
So I just want to talk to you a minute, really. What is it exactly that motivates you to make me feel so scared and so fearful all the time? You're basically ruining my life, You're you're ruining who I am, you're making me doubt who I am. So what drives you to make me feel so miserable and affect how I feel as a person? You make me feel, so worthless, and you make me doubt who I am. Am I a good person? Trying to get on with life here, and you're really, really stuck on my shoulder, really pulling me down. And I just wonder why. What's your intentions, really? And yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let's hear from the bully.
Yeah. Okay, basically, well, I'm just here to. I'm like the big ogre, really, in the back of your mind. I'm here to make your life miserable, make you doubt, who you are, stop you from doing the things you love, stop you from being a good mum, stop you from being happy and feeling free, and having mindfulness. I'm here every day, and I'm here to, basically make you miserable, really. Stop you from achieving your goals in life, stop you from having a career, and basically, so everything you think about that's positive is very minimal, and the rest is very negative. And that's what I do. I just sit there, and unfortunately, that's just the way I am. That's I've been with you a long time. I don't really want to go. So feel quite comfortable because you let me take over your mind, and you let me into your thoughts, and then I feel comfy and warm, and that's where I'm settled. So really, I've tried to battle through as strong as I can into your insecurities, so that I can dig deep and stay there, and then you won't get rid of me, because this is my home now, and this is where I live, and this is where I'm most comfortable.
Okay, just come back a little bit. No, that's great. The bully seems to be talking a lot about the unintended consequences, about what it wanted in that sense. Can we try and explore a little bit more about what it ultimately wants in terms of what it's trying to avoid, perhaps, or trying to prevent you from getting? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to know exactly what you want from me. So what is your intentions on giving me the thoughts that you give me? What do you want out of it? Just tell me what you want from me, and why I have to keep thinking these irrational thoughts. Why you're trying to make me, live in a fearful life. So what do you want from me? I mean, do you want me to, sometimes I felt like ending my life. So do you want me to do that, or do you want? Where are you pushing me? What are you pushing me towards? Well, I don't know really. I just, just seeing how strong you are. I'm testing you, seeing how strong, how much you can really battle without breaking. I'm just, as I said before, I'm just really comfortable here. So I'm part of your brain. I want to make you feel just as miserable as possible, really. And I just want to make you doubt who you are, and make you separate from the rest of society. So yes, anything that's negative, I just pass through, and then you can deal with it the way you want to deal with it. You can try and fight it, or you can let it just take over. And I'm afraid no medication is going to get rid of me. So you've got to be stronger than that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. probably got time for one more. Anybody else like to come up? Yeah, would you like to come up? Yeah. I've got the score. I'd just like you to talk to your OCDA. Really try and understand its motivation, what its intention is. Yeah? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. I'm Ryan. Hello. I never needed you before. My life was quite fine. I didn't have problems and thoughts. But why do I need your security now? Everything I'd say, do, think, you seem to think there's going to be a problem because of it. So I need you there to protect me. But I don't understand why, because I'm not a bad person. The thoughts I have and things I do, they're not intentional. They're not something that I wish I would do. But you seem to be there, and I have to obey everything you do and say to me, because something bad's going to happen. But if I go against you, then it makes it worse. And then I then have to have another compulsion to counteract the compulsion I've already got because of something you've made me feel.
Let's go and talk. Let's go and talk to him. See, what does the bully respond to that?
Well, you can challenge me if you like. Do you really think that you can get by without me? You know, these things that happened, you know, you have these thoughts, you know, you're going to be condemned for your thoughts or things you do. If you want to go ahead, try it. Go on, I dare you. See what happens. But are you willing to take that risk? Is it worth taking that risk, or is it easier just to go along with me and I can make your life better? It might be uncomfortable, but you know that I can help you along the way. And it's only a small sacrifice, and it's only a small little thing you've got to do. And all right, you might have to do it several times, but it's not the end of the world. You know, things could be worse, but you need me. And if you don't have me, you know, people could die, you know, things could go wrong. You know, everything in your life could just go completely wrong just because you didn't go along with me. And it's not nothing big I'm asking, it's only a small sacrifice. So, you know, why would you want to get rid of me? Yeah.
Great. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah. Well, I've tried challenging you, and I've had times where I've challenged you, and nothing has gone wrong, and things have been all right. And I've managed to have a smile on my face and think, you know what, I don't need you. You don't exist. You're not real. You're just a way of my body dealing with the anxiety. But then you come back with a vengeance, and then, you know, you try and make things worse, and you double up on the thoughts. You make the thoughts worse again. But I've not done anything to deserve that. And I've never done anything towards you to make you feel like that. But all I want to do is have a normal life, as normal as possible. But you keep going at me, you keep putting the pressure on, and sometimes the only way to get rid of you is to think, you know what, just end it. And I haven't got that problem. I haven't got you in my head. But you're still there. You're still there, even when I'm sleeping. You're there. There's little thoughts inside my head. But I don't know how I'm going to get rid of you, because I've tried medication, I've tried everything else. Yes, but you need me, because you know the medication isn't helping, and you've tried all sorts, but you know that you need me there just for backup, because do you really want to take that chance of going against your thoughts, going against the thoughts of being condemned, the thoughts of that you've done something wrong, you've said something wrong. Is that really, do you really want to take that risk? I'm not asking for a lot. Just go along with me, just for, just this time. And next time it'll be different.
Great. I found that really illuminating, wasn't it? Just to have a conversation with your OCD and actually really try to understand the motivation behind it. I had sort of guessed beforehand that these might be some of the sort of motivations that come up, and I think some of those themes were coming up today. One would be around avoid harm happening to yourself. The idea that you've got the bully is trying to protect you, keep you safe in some way, something bad from happening, and then you'll die, other people will die, they'll get AIDS or whatever it is. That's the usual, a common theme. Other people can't necessarily articulate it so much in terms of just avoiding experiencing distressing thoughts and feelings, and that's just the feeling of being anxious or having disgust and sadness and so on. Another theme that was coming up a little bit today was to do with the way you view yourself, I think, about being bad or a failure, just immoral, things like that, and the way you judge yourself, so that it's trying to help you not be those things, I think, perhaps in the bully, because it fears that you would be if it didn't have its help. And another one, I suppose more similar to two, is just the feeling of being not just right and incomplete and having not things feeling in order. It's just another feeling motivation that people find it very difficult to tolerate. But, obviously the richness of the experiences of our three volunteers today doesn't really do justice to these things. I'm just talking at quite a high level. So I suppose traditionally in CBT, it's all about fighting your OCD, isn't it? And so eventually you start to test out your expectations if it's about avoiding harm and try out an alternative theory, or what's called, as Paul said, theory B. That is an alternative, better way of understanding the problem. This is about worrying about being a failure and so on. And trying to, when you're avoiding experiencing distress, it's about learning to tolerate distress. If it's about avoiding being fad or a failure or a delusion, you're trying to stop fusing it with yourself. In other words, just because you fail at something doesn't make you a failure as a person, and so on. And when you're having that avoiding of not just right feeling, then of course it's all about learning to tolerate doing things in the wrong way and doing things incomplete. But, if it was that easy, we wouldn't have anybody at this conference because you'd all be cured. Yeah? And so the principles are there, but of course it's very difficult to do. And we just want to have a little think about what you can do to motivate yourself to change and use that other motivational system in the compassion and so on. So firstly, just think a little bit more about, are the consequences that you fear happening now actually happening because of your compulsions and avoidance? And you very often see this where someone perhaps thinks that they're having to protect harm coming to themselves, their family, but actually the OCD is now causing massive psychological harm to relationships in your family. In other words, the consequences are happening right now through the OCD, even though you think you're protecting someone or yourself. Let's say if you might fear being left alone in life, but actually the OCD is now making you very isolated. Yeah? The very things that you fear are happening right now. Yeah? Where you fear harming, say, to yourself because of excessive washing, you're actually, damaging your skin and making yourself less able to fight infections and so on. So always be aware of the very things that you're trying to prevent are probably happening to you right now because of your solutions. Whoops. So the second part is the courage. And this is all about making a commitment to try and relieve your suffering, to use strength, care, wisdom, and be motivated by your well-being and your values, and that's what's important in your life. So what is courage? And it's a terribly important part of overcoming OCD. It's feeling the fear and the stress, yet choosing to act in what's important in your life despite it. And there's a lovely quote there by Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not the man who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. In other words, who experiences it as well as doing it. And when we talk about courage, we talk about, of course, doing things in the anti-OCD way, not just avoiding, but going over the top and doing things which might be regarded as, by yourself or others as abnormal, but this is the only way to try and contain your OCD, whether it's the touching on the toilet seat and putting it on your face, or whether it's going to a gay club or this, that, and the other, doing things which are regarded as anti-OCD. So I think one of the things I want to talk about today is, first of all, trying to validate and connect with your fears. And one of the perhaps ways we can perhaps try and finish off today with the exercises is really try to have understanding, empathy for your OCD and what you've avoided in life. I'm sorry, what I just want you to start thinking about, is there a way of understanding your avoidance that makes sense why you may feel like this? Can you identify the context of the original emotion? That's something I learned when I was younger, and a way of keeping me safe. Is there someone you can turn to support and encourage you to change? Think of that word, encourage. It's always, it includes courage. Can you talk to yourself in a kind, caring way and encourage yourself? Can a therapist be with you and support you and encourage you? And that might just be by text in the moment, perhaps a Skype video in the moment that you're doing that courage. Could you be using a therapy assistant? And I think a lot more, particularly with more tricky OCD, requires that in-the-moment help rather than just doing it on your own in between sessions and reporting back to a therapist. So what I'd like to think about in a minute is our volunteers perhaps coming up in a minute again, and using a calm and soothing voice, because the way you talk to your OCD is very important. If you're going into it like a battle, like back to the White Walkers and so on, it may well get angry back at you, And so when you're talking to yourself, preparing yourself to do something that's courageous, what I'd like you to try and do is to use a calm and soothing voice. And, you might be telling yourself things like, look, I understand, I feel like this, given that as a human being, I've got a tricky brain, that I was born with certain genes, that I was shaped in a certain ways as a child, and I've been avoiding this for some time, and I felt that it was dangerous. But, the OCD, go into threat mode and tell me I'm not safe, and I understand you're trying to keep me safe, but I want us to work together to test out an alternative understanding and really help you to tolerate that distress. Would you like to try that? Yeah? Let's come back up. So, come back to here and try and use, as I said, a calm, soothing voice. Your calmest soothing voice possible.
Yeah, okay.
And try and talk to your OCD. Try and get it on your side to try and work together. To try and, you understand where it's coming from, and you want to try and encourage it to work together.
Yeah.
In a collaborative way.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'd like to develop a new relationship with you. I want to respect what you have tried to do to protect me, and that at heart I can see that your intentions are good. I would really like it if we can just take a moment. I would like to take a moment to appreciate what you're trying to do to help me, to support me, to care for me. And I can see that we both want the same thing, actually. We both want a good life. We both want to get the best out of life. And I can see that us fighting is not working. It's not helping anything. So I would like to honour what you're saying, and also hopefully that you could honour me and how I feel, and we could work together as a team to make life better And that might take, negotiations and compromises and working together over a period of time to see how things could be better. In the case of what I'm trying to do in my life at the moment, we've already set a goal, which is to say that come August 15th, if we would like to reconsider some of these concerns that you have, we can do that. But for this period of time, I would really like it if we could try this method, and then I'll be willing to work with you a little bit more. And if things haven't changed, if we haven't seen any changes in how I feel, how you feel, I'd like it if we could work together. I appreciate and respect that you're trying to help me, and I think that together we can make a better life.
Great. So let's see what the bully says to that. You're really trying to reach out and connect with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do hear you. I mean, I think you're wrong about your beliefs and convictions and so forth, and I'm finding it very irritating because I just keep seeing each day passing and things not really changing, and I've got the answers for you, and that's why I'm finding it so annoying. But I can see what you believe. I can see that it's not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere by keep fighting with each other, so maybe we can work together. But I do want you to honour what I feel. I do want you to come back to me at a certain date and we check those things out again. And I am telling you that I do think the longer that we wait to do that, the worse it's going to be, because time is moving on, life is moving on. But yeah, I can appreciate what you're saying. I can appreciate that you're upset and in distress, and I'm willing to work with you to do that.
Yeah. Have you thought about sorting out Brexit?
Sorry?
Have you thought about sorting out Brexit?
I have done. I think I've got enough to deal with for the moment, but I'll consider it later. Thank you.
Lucy, wasn't it? Would you want to come back up? That was great. That was really fantastic. Because I thought you were really reaching out and trying to connect and understand your OCD. So that's the sort of approach to take, I think, before doing exposures and testing things out. Okay, great. So, I'd just like to talk again in a calm, soothing voice, and trying to reach out, connect with your bully, and trying to see if it's a way of working together.
Hi there. I just want to connect with you a little bit. I just want to put it out there that maybe we could try and work together a bit more. I know that you're trying to help me, but I feel like you're taking over all the time. And I'd love it if we could come to some sort of mutual agreement, and so you can listen to me a lot more. Sometimes it just feels too much that you take control every day, and so I need you to work a bit more with me so we can come to a nice relationship. I don't mind you being there. It's just when you make me sad and you make me worthless. So I need you to make me feel like I don't have to doubt myself all the time, although I know that you're trying to protect me from my worst fears. Does that sound
great?
Yeah.
So let's see what the bully says.
Hi. Yeah. Can I just come back and think about that one? No. I see where you're coming from, but I don't know. I'm trying to, I keep cropping up because I'm trying to really protect you from what you're, from your deepest fears. So, if I'm not there and I'm not the one that's taking control, then, who are you going to rely on? So, it's a bit difficult. It depends how much you're going to take over, really. So, yeah, I suppose we could try and give it a go, as long as you don't sort of get rid of me completely, and we can have little breaks in between. But yeah, I suppose we could have a little try and see how we get on, you know.
Great. All right. Do you want to have another go? No, that's fantastic. Well done. Ryan, do you want to come and have a talk? When you were talking before, you were beginning to be quite assertive with your bully, weren't you? Yeah. and that's one way, but I suppose what I want to try and think about now, if you can try and be calm and soothing, and because I think you were getting, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just try a different approach.
I know you've got my best interests at heart. You're trying to help me, you're trying to protect me, and you want to avoid any harm coming to me, my family, people I know, animals, insects, everything. But sometimes I think you're a little bit over the top, and you get into a point where you're controlling me, and I don't have a life now. It's controlled by you, whereas I don't think we really need to go that far. I know that some things will happen in life, and that they can't be avoided. But I don't need to go through life constantly worrying about everything, because I think sometimes things just happen. Things have got to be, and I think I need to try that.
Great. Let's see what the bully says. This new approach.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to lie. It's not me, it's you. You overthink. You make the problems in your head. I'm just here trying to help you. And every time you're thinking these things up, I'm trying to give you some way of solving it. But then you go against me, which then makes me mad and makes me want to try and solve things even more. I'm only trying to help, but I know that you think you know better, but you don't. I know better. I can help you. You just need to give in to me, and we can work together a bit better. But you need to listen to me more and stop fighting it, because the more you fight it, the more it's upsetting you, and the worse it's making things for you. If you just go along with me, I know this is going to work, and you won't have all these problems. But you need to work with me and live by my rules, not yours, because yours aren't working.
Okay. The bully is still being very defiant.
Yeah.
You're going to have to use all your skills now. Yeah. Think of when you want to get something from your partner, or try and use all your compassionate, caring skills and courage to try and get the bully on your side.
Okay.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's very tricky.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a go, but I think we need to meet halfway. If you make a decision and I make a decision and they're conflicting, then maybe we'll try my way once, and if it doesn't feel right and it's not right, the next time we'll try your way. But I don't think trying your way all the time is helping, because like everything, it's give and take in a relationship. And if we're going to have this relationship, we need to give and take, we need to help each other, and not just be a one-way street all the time. So I think we're going to have to seriously think about it and not act so quickly.
Imagine talking to a baby. Imagine talking to a baby who's crying.
Right. Now, come on, it's okay. We can get through this. It's a bit hard when you haven't got the baby in your arms and you're trying to rock the baby to sleep.
That's right. So just imagine it's a crying baby.
Now, come on, it'll be fine. We can get through this. You just stay quiet and shh. You'll be okay. That's all right. I can't sing lullabies because I have a terrible voice.
Let's see what effect does it have on the baby.
Oh, come on. Just shh. Shh. That's it. Just calm down. Shh. Just be quiet and listen to my voice. Now we're just going to stay still and just shh. Shh.
Okay, let's see what the bully says.
Really? No, I'm happy to try that. We can give it a go. Don't know if it'll work, but I'm happy to give it a go. Yeah. If we give it a go and it doesn't work, you've only got yourself to blame. We can try it, and then if it doesn't work, then we'll do it my way, and we'll keep doing it my way till you learn.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Gosh, that was fascinating, wasn't it? So sometimes I think when something is not working, you may have to change your style, yeah, because you're always set in a particular way of dealing with your bully. You may need to perhaps try out different ways of styles and talking to your bully. But generally, what we're asking you to do is to a more compassionate, caring, and understanding approach. Because once you've got that, then you can set boundaries around your bully and actually say, no, this is it, this is what's going to happen, and so on. But the first step is to really understand the motivation behind it, yeah? And so you can work better with it in order to change things in your life. I think that's it for the moment, unless we haven't got time. But have a think about it and try it out for yourself. Thanks very much.